What should you expect of the missionary that you support? You might be a part of a missions committee, a mission board. You might be a church. You might be someone who just sends a check as an individual, but you are supporting some kind of mission work on the other side of the world. What should you expect of that missionary who's doing that work? I want to give you 5 things that you should expect of the missionary you support. But I want to go ahead and just say we're assuming that good character, Christian character, some of those good things that we're going to find about Christian leaders in, say, First Timothy 3 and Titus 1, elder qualifications, those kinds of things, and also the gospel. Let's say those things are assumed. Baseline before they go, and maybe they shouldn't be assumed, but before they go, you're saying, I know they have good character. This is someone we can vouch for. And also, they know the gospel, they believe the gospel, they want to share the gospel, they got the gospel. Okay, now we're sending a good person. What should we expect of them? 5 things, starting with number 5. You should expect communication. The world has changed. Missionary newsletters go out, there's social media. There's so many ways that you can get in touch with them. I can walk around and have FaceTime calls with people, little check-ins. But even if the communication isn't super personalized directly to you, you should have some kind of communication. And I'd actually love to do a video or an article about this sometime of how a missionary should write a newsletter, what should be included, what shouldn't. But the basic thing that I would tell a missionary is your newsletter should answer the question, how did so and so, how did the missionary complete the mission or execute the mission last month? What did they do over the last 30 days to do the mission that they said they were going to do? They need to communicate with you. They should not be afraid of good questions that you might have. It is okay to expect that you would not have radio silence, but that they would be telling you what they're doing. The next thing, number 4, is you should expect from them a good strategy. Now, this one could seem a little more controversial when we say, well, aren't all strategies good somewhere? Well, no, some strategies are not good. Some you can listen and think, I don't know any way that is going to work. It is okay to challenge a strategy and try to figure out, is that a viable ministry that actually has a chance of producing some kind of fruit? Um, does this work out financially? Do you have the team to do that? Do you have the resources? Do you yourself even have the know-how to pull that off? But making sure that the strategy makes sense is actually an okay thing to do. Um, it could make someone uncomfortable, but go ahead and try to poke holes in it. I promise they have probably thought of the different ways that it could go wrong as well. It's okay to ask those hard questions. I could share many, many stories, but there are times where I have heard people talk about their strategy and thought there's no way, and then asked, how long have you been trying this? Oh, 6 years or so. And what kind of fruit are you seeing? Well, we haven't seen any yet. It's okay to expect that they would have a good strategy, a good plan, a good biblical mission that they're going to accomplish. Number 3 is connected. You need to expect that they will execute their strategy. Once they have a good strategy that makes sense, okay, so if I can talk about what we do for just a little bit, we are trying to make disciples through planting gospel-centered churches in urban Japan. We have teams to do this. The teammates have roles. We have ways to do outreach. We have ways to try to connect to the 99% of Japan. That's the 99% that doesn't believe in Jesus, and try to get them to hear the gospel. We have the strategy, but the next thing that our sending churches and our supporters should expect is that we then try to execute that strategy. They should be able to look into our lives and see, oh, yeah, you put effort into that this week. You put effort into that this month, this year. I can see that you've made progress. even if someone is not seeing massive amounts of fruit, which is so interesting and relative because you could see some really, really healthy ministry results or what would be considered above average ministry results in a place like Japan. And then you compare it to another country and say, oh my goodness, what you've done in 10 years, they did in, 1 week. But at least saying, okay, you can't control all the results, but did you put effort into it? Did you try to execute that good strategy that you came up with? And here's number two. You should expect them to make disciples. This is the goal. This is not hard. This is not controversial. Jesus said, go and make disciples. That's what it should end in. Now, if you talk to someone who says, well, actually, our work is to not necessarily make the disciples, but we're equipping the other people who are making disciples, that's actually a very fair strategy. That could be a really good ministry. You still need to ask the question, okay, of the people that you equipped, did they end up making disciples? Of the resource that you created, did it make disciples? Of the event that you planned, did it make disciples? Did it catalyze someone else to make disciples? Somewhere along the road, were your efforts tied to making disciples of Jesus Christ? If not, there's some flaw somewhere. It is okay for you, as someone sending people into the mission field, to expect that disciples would be made. That is the mission. Let's not lose sight of that. And number one, you should expect that they are getting the gospel to lost people. This is incredibly connected to number two of making disciples. It is how you make a disciple as you get the gospel to a lost person. Romans 1:16 says the power unto salvation is the gospel. We need to make sure that the gospel message of what Jesus did and his death for our sins, his resurrection, his offer of salvation by grace through faith, that message needs to get to lost people. If that's not getting to lost people, then we're not going to see a lot of disciples made. So someone might have some very, very good intention, their lofty goals. They say, yeah, we're really hoping to see a revival. We're hoping to see an awakening. We like to see 10,000 people brought to Christ. Okay. How many lost people have heard the gospel through your ministry? Well, 4. Okay. Simple math. If you share the gospel with 4 people, you're not going to see 10,000 disciples made. That's just not how it works. But even if you are dealing with someone or sending someone who is maybe not even a front lines worker, perhaps they're a professor, perhaps they're in leadership, they're an admin, no matter what, you should expect that a part of that missionary's life is speaking the gospel message and getting others to hear it. If they're an accountant for a mission org, that accountant needs to also be someone who's going to take the opportunity on the street, on the train, in the marketplace to go and speak the gospel message. We should expect that of the people that we send around the world. Those are 5 things, once again, assuming good Christian character in the gospel. Those are 5 things that you should expect of the person that you are sending around the world. If you can think of another thing, go ahead and drop that in the comments. I'm sure we can all continue to learn together.